Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Classified Captures. Steve here, and today we've got a wild lineup of clips ranging from evidence of conspiracies you've never heard of to clips of cryptids you never even knew were out there. Ready to have your mind blown? Well, let's dive in. Starting today's episode, we got this clip of this cute little girl running across a field. If you know anything about our channel, then you know that this clip is all but ordinary. A few seconds into the clip, we see the environment shake, almost as though some camera filter or VFX has been used on the clip. Would you believe me if I told you that that was not the case? Well, it isn't the case. The little girl was running around because that's what kids do, and her proud mom was recording. After she runs around for a while, she moves in the direction we saw in the initial part of the clip, and suddenly comes to a halt. She's not halting because she wants to, but because some invisible force allegedly made her. At least from the mom's perspective, the environment shakes we see are nothing but a ripple in that force field, according to her mother. Take a critical look at it. Now, I must confess that not everyone on my team is convinced about the authenticity of the clip, but I'd love to hear your thoughts regardless. What do you guys think? What would be your first thought if you saw this figure anywhere? Personally, the first thing that would come to my mind is cosplay. I know you're wondering why, and my answer is pretty simple. I'd rather be this man in a costume than an angel of death. The individual who uploaded the clip, however, believes this is the angel of death. I mean, you should have seen this imagery in books, movies, or cartoons at least. He appears to be wielding his legendary scythe, which was what was convincing the uploader. If you were wondering, this was recorded at a horse event, an auction, I'm told. Judging by the people present, it might be in Mexico or something. We're not told. The uploader was looking around when he saw it and captured it. Once it hit our paranormal platforms, things got crazy. While some praised this as being an authentic and genuine capture of the Angel of Death, a few felt this was not legit. To them, this was nothing more than a tree stump. The uploader, however, stated that they left the supposed Angel of Death to continue their activities at the Oars event. When they came back, however, the Angel of Death was nowhere to be found. Now, if this was a tree stump, there's no way it would disappear without anyone's permission, unless the uploader wasn't telling the truth in the first place, but hey, what do I know? Anyway, you've seen the clips yourselves, what do you think? Did you see that? And no, that little boy didn't slip. Someone actually pulled him. But what? Well, no one knows, but I'll tell you what we do know. I'm sure you noticed, but there's an elderly woman lying in the bed behind him. Yeah, that's his grandma, who's advanced in age. He was helping to take care of her. While she rested, he was pressing his phone until the strange being showed up and he was dragged toward the entrance. When he realized what had happened or was happening, he rushed out of the place. His family later came to inspect the room, and it was indeed empty. The clip was uploaded by his sister, and according to her, ever since their grandma became this old and weak, strange paranormal things have been occurring in her room. They think these strange occurrences are caused by spirits who are visiting to bring her back to the spirit world. While that sounds plausible in some circles, others think the whole thing was staged for entertainment purposes, but you've seen the clip, so what do you think? What would you do if you heard this while looking out the window one day? Would it scare you, or would it excite you? If you're confused about what I'm referring to, listen. There are women screaming, but the thing is, this was recorded in the middle of nowhere. It's a highway, yet somehow there are women screaming. Before I go any further, have you guys heard of the Highway of Tears? No? Well, the Highway of Tears is very real, very tragic stretch of Highway 16 in British Columbia, Canada. It's infamous because dozens and possibly over 100 Indigenous women and girls have gone missing or been murdered along that road since the late 1960s. It's a heartbreaking part of Canadian history tied to systemic racism, neglect, and ongoing violence against Indigenous people, especially women. That's not all, though. There have been reports, stories, and some viral videos where travelers claim to hear eerie sounds, screaming, crying, or voices coming from the forest or roadside, especially late at night. Some believe these sounds could be supernatural and possibly the spirits of the women who died there reaching out. Others suggest it could be wildlife like cougars whose screams sound hauntingly human. A few others also think that it could be the psychological weight of the place influencing what people perceive. The idea that the highway could be haunted feels very real for many people because the sorrow tied to that place is heavy and deep. Despite this, people are unable to agree on the authenticity of the story. You've heard both facts and speculation, so what do you think we're dealing with here? Do you love VR games? Then this is for you. This lady is playing a VR game. It was all going smoothly until she noticed something. There was a figure there that was not supposed to be there. Judging from what we are seeing, it's a tall, cloaked figure, and she didn't know anyone like that. In fact, she was home alone. This made her conclude that the game had picked up a demonic presence that was there with her and that she was not aware of. Naturally, she uploaded it online to share her findings, and this led to some rather interesting opinions. Some felt what she was seeing was part of the game, whereas others mentioned it was because she didn't scan the LiDAR now she did in the past. This, according to them, is what led to the presence of a figure that doesn't exist. I won't pretend to be an expert in this VR stuff because I know nothing about it, but thankfully I know some of you are, so can you tell us if we are dealing with a real demonic situation or one of the many explanations users of VR under the original post have given? We'll be reading the comments. This eerie photograph was shared by a man who works at a car dealership, and it left people with chills. According to him, he was the last one to leave the building that day. As he was locking up and making sure everything was shut down, he noticed something unusual near one of the back offices. Right in front of the back door, he spotted what looked like a transparent humanoid figure just standing there, almost like it was guarding the doorway. That door, as it turns out, leads to the office of the dealership's former owner who had passed away just a few months earlier. Now, the employee didn't say whether the ghostly figure looked exactly like the late owner, but that hasn't stopped the speculation. A lot of people believe it has to be him. Maybe he's still watching over the business, or maybe there's something else keeping him tied to that space. Either way, it's hard to ignore how clear that figure looks in the photograph, especially when you consider the history behind that room. We've come across a very interesting piece of footage that was shared by a family, and it's stirring up all kinds of reactions online. In the clip, someone is filming a sweet moment as a little girl runs across the lawn towards a man who has just stepped out of his car. As she reaches him, he picks her up and carries her in his arms, and then something strange happens. While holding the child and walking, something suddenly yanks at the man's bag, pulling it with enough force to catch attention. What's even weirder is how calm he remains. He barely reacts, as if this sort of thing doesn't surprise him at all. Now, this is where opinions start to split. Some people believe the footage might be staged. Just a few seconds before the bag is pulled, the man seems to glance sideways right where the tug happens, as if he were expecting it. But others argue the exact opposite. They claim the family has already experienced strange activity in the house and is used to it. That could explain why the man didn't seem bothered at all. Maybe it wasn't the first time something unseen had tried to make its presence known. So what do you think? Was this a genuine paranormal encounter or just a cleverly timed stunt?
You? Hi, how are you? I didn't know you were here. Here.
Not sure if you remember, but in our last episode, or the penultimate one, we shared a clip that showed strange things going on in the skies of Vancouver, Canada and the US. This clip shows yet another one of those instances. This particular one was recorded from a plane, and just like the other clip, it's got the comment section divided. A few individuals felt it's a drone. They ask everyone to look at the clip slowly and that they will see that there's a drone in those lights. Some also feel it's UFOs and not drones per se. They believe that they're too high to be drones unless they're military, which they doubt. They state they doubt those are military drones since they're basically drawing attention to themselves. Military drones, on the other hand, are stealth-based and wouldn't be noticed by the naked eye at night. A few others also feel it's CGI. This is the second time you've seen something like this if you're an avid follower of the channel, so what do you think? The ocean is easily one of the most mysterious places on Earth, so whenever something even slightly unusual shows up, people go into full panic mode. Recently, a man shared a video he took while flying over the ocean, somewhere between the Dominican Republic and Mexico. What caught his eye were these long yellowish lines stretching across the water. They looked completely out of place, almost like something artificial or otherworldly. He had no clue what they were, and he wasn't the only one. Once he posted the video, the internet went wild. People threw out all kinds of theories, from secret military experiments to alien traces to deep-sea monsters. But finally, the mystery was solved, and no, it wasn't a sea creature, a government cover-up, or a portal to another dimension. It was something called sargassum, which is a type of seaweed. Sargassum is a natural floating brown algae that can spread out in massive patches across the ocean's surface. While it's totally normal, especially in tropical regions, when seen from above, especially for the first time, it can look really eerie and unnatural. So while this one turned out to be nothing paranormal, it's still a great reminder of how easy the ocean can fool us and how quickly our minds can spiral into mystery. Back in the 1970s, Soviet scientists began drilling what would become the deepest hole ever dug into the Earth. The goal was to reach the Earth's mantle. They never quite made it, but what they did achieve is still mind-blowing. This hole, known as the Kola Super Deep Borehole, goes down an astonishing 12 kilometers, or about 7.5 miles. That's deeper than any ocean trench. But what's eerie isn't just how deep it goes, it's what people claim to have experienced there. Recently, this video started making the rounds online. In it, some men light a piece of paper or fabric on fire and drop it into a massive, gaping hole in the ground. The flames trail downwards, disappearing into the darkness until they're no longer visible. It almost looks like the fire is being swallowed by the earth itself. Many people assumed this was the Kola Super Deep Borehole, but it's not. The real Kola borehole was sealed up years ago with a heavy bolted metal plate, and it's much smaller than the one in the video. It's just wide enough for equipment, not big enough to throw yourself into like the one shown online. So while the video is definitely creepy, it's not the infamous Soviet deep drilling site. Still, the real Kola borehole remains one of the most fascinating and mysterious scientific efforts ever developed.
Okay. Drop it down. Oh. Still going too. Which hole did you go down to?
In today's world of fast-evolving technology, privacy has taken a serious hit. Cameras are everywhere, devices are always watching, and sometimes it's hard to tell where the line between safety and surveillance lies. Because of this, certain institutions take privacy to the next level, and that includes using custom tech that most of us have never seen before. What you're looking at here is an iPhone that has no camera, no flashlight, and no way to record video or take pictures. Sounds strange, right? But this isn't just a stripped-down phone, it's designed for a purpose. These cameraless iPhones are used in high-security environments like military bases, nuclear facilities, and classified research areas where even the slightest data leak could have serious consequences. They're especially known to be used in the Singapore military, where strict protocols are followed to prevent the exposure of sensitive information. In a time when everyone has a camera in their pocket, these devices act as a safeguard against accidents or intentional recordings. In a way, it's a reminder that not everyone needs to be captured or shared. Sometimes, not being able to take a picture might just be the smartest move in the room. Have you ever had one of your bowls move while you were setting the table for dinner? If you answered no, that would make two of us. For the lady in this video, however, the same could not be said. She was arranging items on the table when one of the bowls started to move. As is expected, she was confused and tried to understand what was happening, but try as she might, she couldn't. She just couldn't understand what was happening. She later uploaded the footage online seeking answers, and while some said they would have had a heart attack if it were them, others pointed out that the table had to have water or some liquid on it. This, according to them, would make the bowl slide along and look as if it's been possessed, yet there was nothing like that happening. I must admit this does sound logical, but some in my team think this might be a real possession. But what do you guys think? This next footage went viral not long after it was posted online, and once you hear what happened, you'll understand why. It was shared by a mother who had installed a home security system in her house. In the first clip, we see her young son in the kitchen grabbing a snack. Everything seems completely normal until suddenly he freezes in place. Moments later, he starts screaming and bolts upstairs in a panic. According to the mother, her son came running to her, terrified, begging her to get the home security gun because he was convinced someone was inside the house. He was so shaken that she locked him and his siblings in a room and went to check the house himself, but strangely, there was no one there. The mother explained that she too heard what sounded like heavy footsteps right when her son barged into the room, so at that point, even she was convinced someone had broken in. Still shaken, they went back and reviewed the kitchen footage, and that's when things got weird. Right before her son runs, a voice can be heard faintly saying, "How did you find me?" But in the footage, there's clearly no one there. The entire family was shaken by the event, but her son was particularly affected, so much so that he refused to step foot in the kitchen after the incident. What do you think they captured? A ghost, an intruder, or something else entirely? A woman shared this strange footage she took after spotting something fuzzy and bizarre on a car. This little thing was crawling slowly across the surface. At first, they had no idea what it was, so they just recorded it and shared the video online out of curiosity. But as cute and fluffy as this tiny creature looks, you should never, ever touch it. This thing is known as a puss caterpillar. Yes, it sounds harmless, but it's one of the most venomous caterpillars in North America. Those soft-looking hairs are rather venomous spines that can cause intense pain, swelling, nausea, and even more severe reactions in some people. So the next time you see one of these fuzzy little creatures, admire it from a distance, because this is one cute critter you definitely do not want to pet. This man was out late one night filming by himself. He'd set up his camera on something nearby and was crouched down, casually wiping his face with his shirt, when something wild happened. Out of nowhere, this massive creature just leapt onto his head. The guy freaked out, jumped up in total panic, and tried to swat it off. You could see it crawling over him. It looked like a giant spider, not the kind you want as a pet. It kept moving around, almost like it was trying to settle in, until he finally flung it off into the darkness. After that, he did what anyone would do. He ran out of there as if his life depended on it. Now, we have to admit, watching it unfold is pretty hilarious, but also kind of disturbing. So what exactly was that thing? A mutated spider, some alien-looking insect, or just one of those giant jungle bugs that don't care about your personal space? Whatever it was big, it was fast, and it didn't belong on his head. Meditation is easily one of the most fascinating practices in the world. You'd be surprised by the kind of things people have achieved through deep meditation, mastering their minds and training their bodies to reach extraordinary states. Take this yogi, for instance, sitting completely still in the snow deep in meditation. Snowflakes gently fell on him, piling up, but he didn't flinch. No warm clothing, no visible discomfort, just stillness. It's said that some yogis can control their body heat through meditation, allowing them to withstand freezing temperatures without feeling the cold at all. There's also the story of a man who decided to keep his arm raised for the rest of his life as a spiritual offering. The first few years were painful beyond belief, but through meditation and discipline he got used to it. Over time, his body adapted, and that became his new normal. Then there's the tale of a Buddhist monk who set out to walk over 10,000 kilometers in 100 days, training both his mind and body to stay in a constant state of flow. Every step was part of a meditative ritual, and he did it without faltering. One of the most astonishing stories is that of a teenage boy who reportedly meditated under a tree for months without food or water. Whether or not you believe it, many say he was successful, emerging with his body intact and his focus unbroken. These people don't just practice meditation the way most of us do at home. Their version is intense, immersive, and goes far beyond relaxation. It's as if they tap into another layer of existence, a deep, unshakable flow state where their limits of mind and body are pushed beyond what seems possible. Can you challenge yourself to do these things? We've always heard how the Great Wall of China was built by the Chinese to keep their enemies out, but have you ever heard the theory that it was actually the enemies that built the wall to keep China in, aka protect themselves from China? Well, let that sink in a little bit. I know that's a really interesting twist, but before you shut it down, please listen to me. Historically, most of what we call the Great Wall was built by Chinese dynasties like the Qin, Han, and Ming to defend against nomadic tribes like the Zhonggu or later the Mongols. However, there's archaeological and historical evidence suggesting some walls, especially along the Silk Road in places like modern-day Xinjiang, could have been built by groups like the Zhonggu or local kingdoms to defend themselves against Chinese expansion. In a way, it flips the story, not just China defending against the barbarians, but sometimes smaller powers defending against China. The history we know and accept has been accepted for hundreds of years, but it's the small pieces of evidence that make us doubt. It shows how complicated the history actually was, way more than just one side good, one side bad. Beyond that, it also shows how potentially dangerous China could have been and still is. Anyway, let us know what you think in the comments section. This next footage was taken by a cameraman who had been hired to film a Halloween party at a hotel in the UK. He arrived early to set up, and while testing his camera, he casually panned across the room to capture the table arrangements and decorations. At first, everything seemed normal until something strange happened. As he moved the camera, it briefly captured what looked like a woman in black, sitting quietly in a basket chair with her back turned to the camera facing the wall. It was an odd sight, but what made it truly unsettling was the fact that he was supposed to be alone in the room. Startled, he quickly turned the camera back toward her to get a better look, but she was gone. Confused, he rushed over to check the area, hoping to spot someone walking away, but there was no one. No footsteps, no sound of movement, no sign that anyone had ever been there. The room was empty. If the figure wasn't a guest or staff member, then what exactly did he capture? Many believe it could have been a ghost or some kind of entity tied to the hotel, and given that this happened on Halloween, the timing only made the whole encounter feel even eerier. What do you think he saw? We've seen many fascinating and strange things captured in the ocean, yet somehow they never get old. This particular footage comes from a scuba diver who was deep in the sea when they spotted this moving through the water. It is a thread-like creature wiggling softly in the current. It had a strange, almost hypnotic shimmer to it, but it disappeared into the water almost as if it dissolved or vanished into thin currents. The footage caused quite a stir online. Some viewers called it fake, edited, or even a glimpse of some kind of alien sea creature, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. There was something very otherworldly about the way it moved and shimmered. But as it turns out, this isn't some deep-sea alien. The creature is believed to be a palolo worm. It's a marine species known for a phenomenon called epitoki. During epitoki, parts of the worm's body transforms and breaks away for reproduction, glowing in the water as they drift. It's a rare and surreal thing to witness, and this diver just happened to catch the moment on camera. Still, seeing it with your own eyes vanishing doesn't exactly ease the sense of mystery now, does it? It's been a while since I saw a clip I completely didn't have any explanations or theories for. Not sure if you can see it, but the branches and trees in this clip are just bending and breaking off. It's almost as though an invisible force was doing that, but, well, that's not possible or realistic, right? Right? That's exactly what I thought. So what do you guys think is going on here? Can any of you explain? The human body is a truly fascinating and sometimes bizarre thing. Believe it or not, there are people who have actually grown horns. Yup, real horn-like structures that sprout from the skin. Take a look at this woman. She appears to be growing a horn right out of her head. But don't worry, she's not a mutant or some kind of supernatural being. She has a rare condition known as a cutaneous horn. These strange spiky growths made of the same material as our fingernails and hair, keratin. They can grow on different parts of the body, and while they look like something straight out of mythology, they're very real and documented in medical history. Sometimes they grow slowly over the years, and in some cases they pop up suddenly, shocking both doctors and the people who develop them. While many of them are harmless, some can be linked to underlying skin conditions, so they're not something to ignore. But seeing someone growing a horn on their head makes you wonder how much about the human body we understand. So when I first saw the Pope sit in front of this, I was like, why would such a holy man be sitting before such an unholy-looking sculpture? Turns out the problem was me. I just didn't get the art. Meet The Resurrection by Pericle Fazzini. It's a massive bronze and copper sculpture located in the Paul V1 Audience Hall at the Vatican, completed in 1977. It depicts Jesus rising from a nuclear bomb crater in the Garden of Gethsemane, symbolizing both destruction and divine hope. Vizzini wanted to capture the chaos and violence of the modern world, especially fears of nuclear war, while showing Christ triumphing over it. The twisted, almost explosive forms around Christ give the sculpture a surreal, intense energy, blending suffering with resurrection. It's one of the Vatican's most striking and modern works of religious art. So what do you art-inclined people think? Did I just say art-inclined? Shouldn't it be artistic? I don't know. Let's move on. Every day, it seems like a new invention is born, and some of them feel like something straight out of science fiction. Recently, researchers have developed a mind-blowing technology that allows sound to be directed at just one person in a room full of people without anyone else hearing it. This tech uses ultrasound beams that can bend through the air and travel silently until they reach their target. Once it hits the intended person, the sound becomes audible only to them. Imagine being in a room with 1,000 people and you hear a voice in your ear clear as day while the person sitting next to you hears absolutely nothing. It sounds like telepathy, but it's real science. Right now, it's not mainstream, but what you can do with this tech is endless, from personal communication to high-security messaging. It's still being refined, but the fact that it exists at all is both fascinating and just a little eerie. Not everyone believes in the paranormal, but sometimes something so strange happens that it shakes even the most skeptical minds. A skateboarder was just at home going about his day when something truly unsettling occurred. His skateboard, which was hanging neatly on the wall, suddenly begins to swing back and forth violently. It wasn't just a little wobble, it was banging hard against the wall, making this loud screeching sound as it scraped along the surface. He stood there, frozen, staring at it. No one else was in the room, nothing had touched it. Now, this guy wasn't someone who believed in ghosts or spirits. In fact, he'd always brushed off anything supernatural, but at that moment, with that sound echoing through the room and his skateboard moving on its own, he had no explanation. Just a gut-deep chill and a sudden sense that maybe, just maybe, something else was there.
This one's getting about like 237, like 255. So it's definitely and of course, we have a new issue with this one.
This video dates back to 2019. Some friends were out by the ocean in Hawaii when they witnessed something they will never forget. Hovering just above the water was a glowing orb of light. What made it even stranger was that its reflection on the ocean wasn't steady. It was blinking, almost as if it was signaling or scanning. They looked around, trying to make sense of it, but there was no sound or propellers, nothing to suggest this was any kind of ordinary aircraft. To them, it felt like this orb was searching for something beneath the waves. It didn't move like a drone, it didn't act like anything they'd seen before, and that's why they are convinced that this might have been a real UFO encounter. Here we have another possible UFO sighting, this time from Mexico. The video was originally shared on TikTok by a guy who spotted something strange in the night sky. The object was completely silent, no hum, no engine noise, just hovering up there. It looked almost triangular, but not quite. The sides weren't sharp or pointy, which makes it hard to say for sure what shape it truly was. As with many sightings like this, people were quick to label it a UFO, especially given how still and eerie it looked in the sky. But what do you think? Could this be something out of the ordinary or just a man-made craft? In just this year alone, about 4 to 5 whales have washed up on beaches, and sadly, all of them were found dead. Now, of course, this started to raise serious concerns. Some people believe this could be a warning sign that something is not right in the waters near San Francisco. But while it sounds ominous, there might be more than one explanation for what's going on. In many cases, whale deaths are caused by collisions with massive ships that can be fatal, but here's where it gets strange. Some of these recent whale deaths don't show any usual signs of trauma. That's what sparks more speculation. So what's really going on in the San Francisco waters? Could it be something environmental, something man-made, or maybe even something we don't yet understand? This video was shared by someone who spotted something strange floating in the ocean. It was this rare, shiny round object, and it looked metallic. The way it just sat there on the surface was almost too still, almost too perfect. No one really knows what it is. Some say it could be a sea creature, others believe it's a piece of alien technology, maybe even a UFO that landed or crashed into the water. It doesn't look like any buoy or marine creature most people have seen before, and the shape is just off. So what do you think it could be? Lately, there's been a rise in alleged sightings of prehistoric creatures around the world, and one of the most talked about is this strange footage someone shared. In it, you see what looks like a giant centipede-like creature crawling through a forest. People quickly claimed it was an arthropleura, an actual prehistoric arthropod that lived millions of years ago. These creatures were real and could grow to massive sizes, some up to 8 feet long. But when you compare this video to scientific depictions of the arthropleura, something feels off. The creature in the video has too many legs and the movement looks almost unnatural. Some say it's just AI generated, others are convinced that some ancient species might still be lurking out there hidden deep in the forests or jungles. But what do you think? Is this a real prehistoric comeback or just another convincing piece of internet trickery? In Italy, there's a centuries-old Easter tradition that's both unique and thrilling to watch. Every year, people gather at the church to witness what's known as the Scoppio del Carro, or explosion of the cart. It's a festival spectacle rooted in deep symbolism and history. At the heart of this tradition is a long wire strung from the altar of the church to the cart packed outside. Attached to the wire is a small rocket-like device often designed to look like a dove or symbol of the Holy Spirit. The rocket is lit inside the church and blazes down the wire, shooting toward the cart filled with fireworks outside. If all goes well, it hits the cart, setting off a colorful and dramatic explosion of fireworks. Then, just as impressively, the rocket flies back into the church. According to tradition, if the dove successfully ignites the fireworks and returns to the altar, it's considered a sign of prosperity and good fortune for the coming year. And in the footage shared this year, it did exactly that. In Norway, a tech company by the name of X1 is making waves with a bold new move. They're set to deploy thousands of humanoid robots called Neo Gamma directly into people's homes. But here's the twist. These robots aren't being tested in labs. Instead, they'll be monitored and observed right inside actual homes, living side by side with humans and adapting to real-life human behavior in real environments. The reason is to help the robots learn and evolve naturally by being part of everyday life instead of running scripted simulations. Neo-Gamma units are set to start rolling out later this year, and people are already split on how they feel about it. Some are excited, others a little uneasy. Because at the end of the day, it's one thing to see robots in labs, but living with them, well, that's a whole other story. Do you think we could ever spot more than one sun from our planet? And before you say no, take a look at this clip. The individual filming captures not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 suns in the sky, and this shouldn't be possible, but here it is. Some who saw the clip jovially stated that his phone was probably intoxicated, but beyond the jokes and teasing, what do you think is happening here?
5 солнц. Раз. 2. 3. 4. 5. И радуга над нами.
This footage was shared by a man who went hiking deep in the woods and stumbled upon something he never expected. Hidden between the trees was this massive creature that looked like a dogman. The thing was huge, it's fur matted and wild, and if you look closely you'll notice it doesn't resemble Bigfoot at all. Its snout is long and dog-like, more similar to a wolf's than a primate. You can feel how tense the moment was. The hiker didn't get too close, but just enough to catch this glimpse before leaving immediately. So is the dogman legend a lot more real than we thought? A researcher recently conducted a strange experiment on sleepwalkers, and what he discovered might just change how we understand the phenomenon. He found that many sleepwalkers tend to move directly towards specific spots or objects while sleepwalking, seemingly without reason, but here's where it gets really weird. He also discovered that certain metals, when exposed to sunlight, emit light frequencies that are invisible to the average person, but not to sleepwalkers. According to his theory, sleepwalkers might be able to see things the rest of us can't, like subtle lights. This could explain why they gravitate to certain places or repeat strange behaviors while asleep. So is sleepwalking just a brain glitch, or are sleepwalkers navigating a hidden layer of reality the rest of us can't see?
Hey! What are you doing over there?
A man was out in the park with his child when something strange happened. The child suddenly turned toward the trees nearby and pointed as if she had seen something. The man, curious and a little unnerved, called out, "Who's there?" while recording the scene on his phone. As he cautiously approached, he noticed movement. There, retreating in the shadows of the woods, was a pale, eerie creature. This wasn't just any creature, it was hunched over, its body bent in a way that was unnatural, and the most unsettling part? Its hands. They were extremely long, almost dragging on the ground as they moved silently away. The creature moved so quietly that you could almost miss it, slipping back into the darkness of the forest. But the man caught it on camera, just enough to leave us all wondering, what could this be? A cryptid lurking in the woods? This next one made my skin crawl. So if you're someone who can't stand seeing things eerily moving together, you might want to skip ahead for about 45 to 60 seconds. Now that's the disclaimer out of the way, so take a look.
What's that? What's that, brother?
What do you think this is? When I first saw this, I didn't know what to make of it until I visited the comments section of the original post. It was then I saw comments like these. Now, I'm no expert, but they may be onto something. There is a real chance that these are indeed worms. If you're here and you work with worms or bait or anything of that sort, can you confirm if that's the case? Thank you in advance.
What's that? What's that, brother?
Over the years, science and tech have improved and provided us with various inventions to make life easier for us. Take a look at a recent invention called Xenobots, which have been hailed as a significant breakthrough in the field of robotics and bioengineering. These are living robots, and they're the first of their kind in the world. They are made entirely from frog cells. They were developed using a combination of living cells and artificial intelligence algorithms by researchers at the University of Vermont and Tufts University in 2020. They're designed to perform specific tasks, such as transporting medicine within the body or cleaning up environmental pollution. Their creation opens up new possibilities in a variety of fields. It's fascinating to see the potential of these living robots and how they could make a positive impact on the world. There are some who are, however, concerned about their existence. I understand where these individuals may be coming from, but there's also so much good that can come from an invention like this, don't you think? When the dentist tells you to take care of your oral hygiene, it's not just a formality. Sometimes it's to prevent things like this. Yes, this is allegedly someone's gums. It looks like gums are coming apart from the teeth. This is called tooth gum inflammation. Teeth gum inflammation, known as gingivitis or periodontitis, can make your gums look swollen and red like they're coming off. It often comes with other problems like bleeding gums, bad breath, and gums moving away from your teeth. Gingivitis usually happens because of not taking good care of your teeth, which lets plaque and bacteria build up along your gum line. If you don't treat gingivitis, it can turn into periodontitis, which is worse and can harm your gums, teeth, and bones. It's important to see a dentist if you noticed your gums are swollen to stop any more problems and keep your mouth healthy. For the longest time, I always thought that when people were cremated, they were just burnt to ashes, but it turns out that's not the full story. Take a look.
This is what you look like after you come out of the crematorium. You're not ashes. After your bones cool off with this fan, your bones are taken to a grinder, which is over here, that grinds everything up. And then you're turned into that little powder that people call ashes.
It's surprising, right? So after the body is burned, what actually happens is that the bones are left behind, and they don't just crumble into ashes on their own. Instead, these bones are cooled down and then placed into a grinder, which turns them into a fine powder that we typically think of as ashes. I never realized that was how it worked. Honestly, I don't know how to feel about that. It's a bit unsettling to think about, but at least now I know, and the truth is out there. Assuming I was not the only one who didn't know.
Here, that grinds everything up. And then you're turned into that little powder that people call ashes.
Still on Strange Creatures in the Dark, take a look at this clip we found on one of our paranormal platforms.
Something's under my house.
The clip starts off with someone stating that there was something or someone underneath his home. He makes his way there, and there are balloons lined up in a straight line leading toward the dark parts of the lower section. Naturally, he was weirded out by this, but that's when he saw it. There were two beady eyes belonging to a small creature down there he couldn't really see. The eyes reflected in the light, and that's all. He was wondering what the creature was, which is why he uploaded it online. Looking at the clip in its current form, it's hard to say what that is, but if the clip is really genuine, like they're making it out to be, then this has to be a paranormal creature. The big question now is, which exact one? I don't have the answers currently, but I'd love to hear your thought. What do you think we're dealing with here? This clip was captured by a resident of Oklahoma of captured footage on April the 24th, 2023, showing a strange beam of light moving across the sky. A closer look, and you would realize that there appears to be waves of light emanating from the beam, which then spread into the sky. Some who saw this believed that this could be evidence of something on the other side of the firmament. In ancient times, people believed that the Earth was at the center of the universe, surrounded by a solid dome called the firmament. They thought that the sun, moon, planets, and stars were all contained within this dome and moved around the Earth. This belief was popular among civilizations like the Babylonians, Egyptians, and Greeks, as it helped them explain various natural phenomena such as the daily movements of the stars and the changing seasons. However, we now know that the sun is at the center of our solar system and the planets, including Earth, revolve around it. But some people are questioning this idea, especially after this recent incident. As much as I wanted to go into the firmament theory et al., many individuals in the comments section had one thing to say: SpaceX. So I checked it out, and there was actually a SpaceX launch on the said date, and it happened at night as well. The issue, however, is that the launch happened from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Given the distance between the two states, is it even possible for our informant to have captured the rocket? Are we looking at the same incident, or is this clip an entirely different ballgame altogether? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Now let's talk about Mount Etna, which is located on the east coast of Sicily in Italy and is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. It's also one of the tallest active volcanoes in Europe, reaching approximately 3,330 meters, 10,925 feet in height. The volcanic activity of Etna has been recorded for thousands of years, with eruptions dating as far back as 1500 BC. Etna is well known for its frequent and often dramatic eruptions, which can involve lava flows, explosive eruptions, and the release of ash, gases, and volcanic rock. Despite the potential dangers posed by its eruptions, Etna has also been a subject of fascination and research for scientists and scholars for many years. It's home to various observatories and research centers that monitor its activity and study its geological characteristics. In recent footage taken on April 5, 2024, Mount Etna was spotted emitting smoke rings, which is not unusual for this mountain. It's just nature being dramatic. Maybe this mountain simply wants a little attention.
There's a UFO in New York City, y'all. Yo, it's a UFO in New York City. Yo, look at the beams.
Here we have another UFO sighting, this time in the heart of New York City. A driver stuck in traffic noticed something unusual in the night sky. A bright glow was emanating from behind the clouds, and as he zoomed in with his camera, it revealed a peculiar horizontal arrangement of lights. But what could this be? As if the sighting wasn't strange enough, a large ray of light suddenly shot out from the glowing lights and splashed across the sky for a brief moment, illuminating the area. Just as quickly as it appeared, the ray faded and the glow returned to its original state. Many people watching this footage were quick to claim that this was a UFO, pointing to the mysterious nature of the lights and the sudden flash as evidence of something otherworldly. However, skeptics were less convinced. One commenter offered a more grounding explanation, explaining, "Those are just the high beam lights on top of the building at Bryant Park. Stop it." So is this really an unidentified flying object or just an illusion caused by city lights? Share your thoughts.
There's a UFO in New York City, y'all. Yo, it's a UFO in New York City. Yo, look at the beams.
لو سمحتوا يا جماعة التنانين بتلف حوالين العمارة عندنا. لو سمحتوا بعد إذنكم أنا في منطقة في ظهر العروبة. لو سمحتوا التنانين.
And no, you aren't seeing things. This is actual footage. At least that's what the one who uploaded it said it was. To give you a bit of context, a lady was out at the beach relaxing until she caught a glimpse of that. The creature to her looked like something that belonged to a prehistoric era, as it had a long body with wings resembling those of a bat, and yet somehow retained a bird-like appearance. It was almost as though she was looking at a dinosaur soaring through the sky. But that shouldn't be possible, right? They're extinct, or at least they're supposed to be. She uploaded this seeking clarity, and as always, different opinions were flying left and right and center. When it got to our studio, Julius, the ever-skeptic, suggests that this might be a cleverly constructed model, perhaps something built to mimic a creature from the past. What's even more shocking is the fact that Aaron, our conspiracy theorist, is tempted to side with Julius on this. Weird, right? Anyway, you guys have seen it. What do you think?
لو سمحت يا جماعة التنانين بتلف حوالين العمارة عندنا. لو سمحتوا بعد إذنكم أنا في منطقة في ظهر العروبة. لو سمحتوا التنانين.
Snakes are animals that come in all shapes and sizes. Some are very small, some are big, while others are gigantic. In a remote location, a group of men arrived at a farm one morning and made a startling discovery. They found a 30-meter-long shed skin of a snake. The sight of such an enormous snake skin left them in awe, contemplating the sheer size of the snake that had left it behind. This incredible find raises numerous questions. What kind of snake could have shed such a massive skin? Could it be a reticulated python known to grow to extraordinary lengths? Or perhaps it belongs to an anaconda, one of the largest snakes in the world. The discovery of such a large shed skin hints at the presence of a truly gigantic serpent, one that might still be lurking somewhere nearby. If I were him and this clip was truly real, I'd engage the services of animal control or relocate. A snake of that size will make a meal of me in no time. What about you? What would you do? If you thought that was strange, here's another strange floating object that was shared on our paranormal platforms. This time, it wasn't a dark entity, but an oddly shaped white thing twirling right above the ground. This object was seen near a light pole, seemingly dancing in the air. There was no indication of wind blowing, and this thing didn't look like typical debris. So what could we be looking at? Could it be a peculiar type of balloon or a plastic bag caught in unusual air current? Or perhaps it's something more mysterious, an unexplained phenomenon, or even a paranormal occurrence?
What is that? I don't have a candle on. You have that. Is it lit up?
A woman came downstairs one evening and was startled by what she found. In the corner of the room, there was a strange sight. Smoke, or what appeared to be smoke, was floating eerily in the air, almost as if it was suspended in place. What makes this even more unsettling is that there was no fire or candlelight anywhere in the house. So where did this mysterious smoke come from? The room was otherwise quiet and untouched, with no obvious source for the strange phenomenon. As she watched, the smoke didn't dissipate like ordinary smoke would. It just lingered there, almost as if it was aware of her presence. Was this some kind of paranormal activity, or could it be something else entirely? An unexplained natural phenomenon, or perhaps a message from something unseen?
I don't have a candle on. You have that light fragrance thing. Is it lit up? Yeah, it's lit.
Вот я, простой американский президент, смотрю на всех этих роботов.
When the clip started, did you think that was real? Well, if you did, at least for the first second or two, then you aren't alone. Personally, after the first 5 seconds, I started to suspect this was not real. And once the lady approached it and lifted a part of its head off, I knew I was a pro at determining when something wasn't real. Moving away from my little joke there, you have to wonder if there aren't advanced versions of these things already moving around us. This would explain many of the strange behaviors and actions we featured on this channel with regard to public figures like politicians and celebrities. What do you think, though?
Вот я, простой американский президент, смотрю на всех этих роботов.
The number of unusual sightings in the sky these days is quite strange, if not alarming. Recently, someone shared this intriguing footage of something they captured floating over the ocean. It was a white figure in the sky that resembled a person with their arms stretched wide. The figure looked like a cloud, but there was no other clouds in the sky, just this singular human-shaped formation. It seems very odd for the only small patch of cloud in the blue sky to be shaped like a person. This led to a lot of speculation. Some believe it could be a holographic projection, but who would be out at the ocean looking up to see this? Others think it could be an actual being in the sky. What do you think? Is this a mysterious being, a clever hologram, or just a peculiar cloud formation? In this next footage, someone discovered intriguing tracks near Meek's cabin by the water. The muddy ground perfectly molded the footprint impressions into its surface. The site where this print was captured is said to be a Bigfoot hotspot. The prints, although seemingly human, have an unusual appearance. They feature a mid-tarsal ridge and a significant girth, unlike typical human footprints. The debate over the existence of Bigfoot has been ongoing for years, with numerous sightings and evidence. The distinct characteristics of these tracks could point to the legendary creature, but they might also belong to someone with an unusual foot structure. So are we looking at a Bigfoot track, or are these just the prints of a human with oddly shaped big feet? Still on strange foods, we've got this.
Ay, pero por mucho, ¿por qué hacen Mira. Mira, hasta se me abrió las... Estoy diciendo que mira qué humo hay.
Now, for this one in particular, I've got no answers. I mean, it's not every day you see a green sauce giving off lighting or electricity sparks and sending smoke to the atmosphere. I have no words for it, sincerely. If you have an idea of what's going on here and have answers, then please do share them with us in the comments section, as we'd love to know.
¿Por qué hacen Mira. Mira, hasta se me abrió las... Estoy diciendo que mira qué humo hay.
Around so I can work on it a bit. You hear that?
This man was deep in the Alaskan Triangle, a region notorious for its mysterious and often eerie occurrences. He'd set up his tent in the middle of the wilderness and was working on something late at night when he began to hear some strange noises. Let's listen closely. The sounds outside his tent were unlike anything he'd ever heard before. It was like two very large animals were giggling just beyond the thin walls of his shelter. Initially, he thought it might be wolves, but the noises didn't quite match up with what you'd expect from those animals. The Alaskan Triangle is known for its many reported sightings of Bigfoot, leading some to believe that what we heard that night could be something far more mysterious. You heard the strange sounds, right? So what do you think? The eyes are one of the most crucial organs of our body, and any abnormality in them should be taken seriously. If your eye looks like the one in this footage, it's crucial to visit a specialist immediately. When I first saw this, I was a bit uncomfortable and wondered if it had anything to do with the supernatural. I did some reading around and realized it's an actual condition, and it's called iridodenesis. The condition is characterized by the abnormal movement or trembling of the iris. During an eye examination, this movement is typically observed and may be caused by various underlying causes, such as weakness or damage to the muscles that control the iris or the support structures holding the lens in place. The most common causes of iridodenesis are cataracts, trauma to the eye, or complications from eye surgery. In some cases, it may also be caused by other medical conditions, such as glaucoma or retinal detachment. Iridodenesis may lead to visual disturbances or changes in vision, and it is essential to seek immediate medical attention if you experience any such symptoms. This next clip makes me believe that the zombie apocalypse might not just be a thing of fiction, but an actual possibility. I recently came across this footage of a man driving on a road when he encountered a ram walking recklessly on the street. Curious about the ram's condition, he slowed down to check on it, and that's when he noticed something strange. When you look closely, you'll notice that the ram's skull has been crushed, which means it was most likely gravely injured and should be either dead or at the point of death. This discovery naturally left many people confused, and theories started to emerge until the man mentioned he saw something that looked like fungus inside the ram's hollow head. Once this was mentioned, many thought it was Ophiocordyceps, which is known to attack ants. For those unfamiliar with them, when ants come into contact with Ophiocordyceps spores, the fungus enters the body and begins to grow. Gradually, the fungus takes control of the ant's movements, causing it to climb to a high spot and attach itself to a surface. Even after the ant dies, the fungus continues to grow and eventually forms a stalk-like structure on the ant's body. This structure releases more spores into the air, which can infect other ants nearby, continuing the fungus's life cycle. They are, however, known to affect ants in most cases. There have been cases where it has been found infecting other organisms, such as spiders and caterpillars. These cases are, however, very rare. The idea that it could potentially infect larger animals like rams is theoretically possible, although such cases would likely be even more rare than the cases involving spiders and caterpillars. If we have learned anything about nature, rare doesn't mean impossible. We could basically be looking at one of these extreme cases where this happens. If the clip is to be believed, however, then it begs the question, are humans even safe from this fungus? Think about it. If Bigfoot and other creatures from folklore can be real, it certainly makes you wonder what other things we see in movies might have a grain of truth to them. Take this footage for example. A resident noticed something strange happening at her neighbor's house one morning. Perched all over her house were white owls, at least 10 of them. Remember the scene from Harry Potter where owls deliver letters? While the owls here aren't as numerous, it's still eerie to see so many of them gathered like this in real life. It makes you think, doesn't it? What could have drawn them all to this particular house? Could there be something more to it, or is it just a curious coincidence? It seems we can never go a day without new footage of a strange object in the sky. If it's not an orb, then it's some kind of craft. This time a man was in his apartment, gazing out over the city lights, when he noticed something unusual moving in the sky. Instinctively, he grabbed his camera and started capturing images. What he captured was a craft, at least that's what it appears to be. There's a long blue light running along the bottom of the object, with smaller red lights dotted its edges. The craft itself is shrouded in darkness, making it impossible to see its shape or structure. Only the eerie light formations are visible against the night sky. But what do you make of these images? Is it just another piece of evidence of something otherworldly, or is there a more mundane explanation? The vast expanse of the ocean is home to a plethora of fascinating and often mysterious creatures, and it seems that every day we'll learn something new about this underwater world. Recently, a fascinating video clip has emerged which has captured the attention of marine biologists and ocean enthusiasts alike. The footage shows an octopus-like creature swimming through the ocean depths. The creature appears to be white and seems to move gracefully through the water. Once this hit the paranormal platforms, a number of individuals quickly thought it was alien or a previously unknown species. Some even thought the footage was edited. A little digging around, however, and we discovered that this is an actual real-life octopus. It's what's known as a blanket octopus, and they do exist. The blanket octopus belongs to the genus Tremoctopus, and there are 4 recognized species within this genus. Females of the species can grow up to 6 feet, 2 meters in length, while males are significantly smaller, typically around 1 inch, 2.5 centimeters long. Females have a striking appearance with long, flowing web-like membranes stretching between their arms, giving them the appearance of a blanket. Males, on the other hand, lack this elaborate membrane. Despite their intriguing characteristics, blanket octopuses remain relatively understudied due to the challenges of studying deep-sea organisms. This might explain why they're not so well known as compared to other octopi. There were, however, some like this user who actually knew what it was. There were also some who knew what they were but refused to believe that they were from the planet. Yes, they believed these were aliens. Despite the scarcity of knowledge on the creatures, there's ongoing research that aims to uncover more about their biology, behavior, and ecological role in marine ecosystems. Interesting, don't you think? Birth defects are typically irreversible in most situations. Pregnant creatures, be they human or animal, could give birth to offspring that are very different from the accepted and known norms of their species. Take a look at this footage, for instance, that was taken in what looks like a hospital. On the bed, you can see a strange, hairless creature lying down. It looks humanoid, with the odd feature being its arms, which are very skinny, too skinny to be anything human. The strange-looking creature has a bald head and a flat chest with a huge belly. Now, as the video is zoomed in on its face, you can make out the mouth looks as though it's been bitten off. The rest of its face, however, remains intact. Now, there is no context to the footage, so there's not much we can say about it. No one who commented on the original post knew what it was either. Some stated it could be someone born through a birth defect. Others thought that was too convenient and that it was possible we could be dealing with some sort of alien creature. The truth, however, is that it could be any of these possibilities. You can never rule anything out when it comes to paranormal and strange things. I've read some of your experiences in the comments sections before and personally gone through some things to know that much is definitely true. If you are someone with a taste for exotic cuisine, then you might want to try this out. This is suo dui, which basically means suck and throw away. The meal is prepped with these pebbles, so they basically absorb the flavors of the ingredients being thrown into the hot pot. And no, you don't eat them, you suck on them, as the name implies. They also complement the taste of whatever is being prepared. In this clip, we can see the rocks are seasoned with chili, purple perilla, garlic, and rosemary. It's quite the spice fest. And the good news is you don't have to worry about bringing back the stones. You can suck on them as much as you want and then reuse them if you want. Bold men apparently invented this to cater for days and seasons when they had less to eat. Necessity is the mother of all inventions, after all. Is this something you see yourself eating or preparing? Let us know in the comments section. Years ago, the brilliant inventor Nikola Tesla developed a device called the magnifying transmitter. For the longest time, this invention baffled scientists who couldn't fully grasp its purpose or potential. Most believed that Tesla intended to use the device to transmit energy through the atmosphere, a concept they thought would be inefficient and impractical. However, a deeper dive into Tesla's research and patents revealed something astonishing. They had it all wrong. Tesla's true vision was to use the device to transmit energy not through the air, but through the minerals in the ground. The transmitter would send energy through the earth, and the receiver, positioned elsewhere, would collect that energy. This method, Tesla believed, would be far more efficient and could potentially provide limitless energy across vast distances. The magnifying transmitter came in two crucial parts: the transmitter and the receiver, working together to achieve this groundbreaking form of energy transmission. What would you do if you returned to your locked car and saw a pair of glowing eyes staring back at you through the window of the passenger side? A man found himself in exactly this situation late one night, and it was an experience he won't soon forget. As he approached his car, he noticed something peculiar inside. On the passenger side, a pale face with glowing eyes appeared briefly, staring intently at him. Before he could fully comprehend what he was seeing, the face vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Understandably shocked, he cautiously opened the car door. To his bewilderment, there was no one inside. The car was empty, with no signs of the eerie visitor he had just seen. The incident left him deeply unnerved. If it were me in that situation, I'd probably leave the car right there and opt for a taxi or an Uber home. The thought of driving off after such an encounter is just too unsettling, and honestly, getting the car exorcised or blessed might not seem so far-fetched after an experience like that. Because really, what on earth was that thing? What would you do in this situation? Share your thoughts and reactions. These days, there are many things coming out that makes me question if everything we know about the world and the earth is even true anymore. Take a look at this footage. A man was taking a video of the moon in the sky, and as he zoomed in, something strange happened. The moon looked like it was a kite, and then its shape glitched out. The color also shifted to a shade between pink and red. Wow. Now, is this even possible? We all know that the moon is round, but sometimes appears crescent when there is a shadow over part of it. So what is this odd shape in the sky? This makes you wonder if all the talks about a matrix world are real. It's unsettling to consider the possibility that our perception of reality might be manipulated or incomplete. What do you make of this footage? Stepping away from all that violence, we turn our eyes to a man that keeps a list of the good and the naughty. Santa Claus. If you blink twice, you might miss it, but thank God for replay in slow motion. Do you see it now? There's something or someone in what looks like a sleigh with reindeer moving through the sky at lightning speed. Who do we know that fits the bill? Yes, Santa Claus. But how? He's supposed to be a figment of our imagination, right? Something told to kids to help them act right for their end-of-year gifts. Well, it turns out that's not the case if this clip is to be believed. What do you think, though? Is Santa real? Let us know your stance and the reason for your stance in the comments section. While you do that, it looks like I need to have a conversation with my parents. Still on the strange and bizarre, take a look at this next clip. Pay attention to the fingers. Did you see it? His fingers all of a sudden turned the other way. He even had to drop his pad out of pain. When Aaron sent me the link to the original post, he titled it Ghost Attack, and the moment I watched the clip, I knew why. Many who saw the clip also shared similar views. They believed that this was nothing more than a ghost attack at the supermarket. I find that highly debatable, but nonetheless decided to check the comments section of the original post. Take a look at some of the things I found. This guy stated he had experienced similar. Another mentioned that his pet was probably the way it was because it saw something the man didn't. Others tried to point out that it was nothing more than a finger cramp. You've seen the clip as well, so what do you think? What do we have here? Someone trying to pick up this strange-looking creature on the muddy ground with a pair of chopsticks. The creature was sandwiched between the sticks, but as soon as he tried to lift it, the creature vanished from the spot and appeared in another position, almost as if it had teleported. Well, this intriguing creature is called the mudskipper. Mudskippers are fascinating amphibious fish known for their ability to move and survive both in water and on land. They use their pectoral fins to walk on the muddy surfaces of their habitats and their unique appearance and behaviors. While it may seem like the mudskipper teleported, it's actually a combination of its quick, agile movements and its ability to blend into its muddy surroundings that creates this illusion. There are many unexplained things that we've come across that sometimes defy explanation. People often create conspiracies in hopes of making sense of these strange phenomena. Take a look at this footage, for instance. A hand holds up this freaky-looking fish. The fish has two mouths. Yes, you heard that right. Two mouths, one on top of the other. Both mouths were wide open, giving the fish a bizarre appearance. To add to the strangeness, the fish also has 4 eyes, 2 on each side of its face. This footage has raised a lot of eyebrows. Some suggest it's simply a deformed fish, perhaps the result of conjoined twins that didn't fully separate. Others believe that environmental factors, such as pollution or chemicals in the water, could have caused this deformity. There are also those who think this might be some kind of experiment gone wrong in a lab, leading to this unusual creature. What do you think? Imagine being out in the wild and coming across this. What does it look like to you? Almost everyone I showed this to was convinced it was a snake. Others thought we were looking at the belly of an alligator or croc that was somehow turned over in the water. Looking at it, I guess I understand why they think that, because for a second I thought so too. I have my answer now though, but instead of telling you, let's see if you guys can figure it out. 1, 2, 3. If you thought dog, then you're right. It's a dog. Next, we've got a clip of a child sleeping what appears to be her baby cot. There's a baby cam rolling, and if you pay attention, you'll see it. A cloud of smoke or fog appears to hover over the child. It moves around for a little while, and then the clip ends. The one who uploaded it believes the cam captured a spirit that was visiting the child. Now, there's no way to confirm or disprove that, but it's a common hypothesis people have anytime they find such white, ethereal, and foggy movements or characters around their babies. If you're an avid follower of this channel, then this is probably not the first time you've seen a clip like this. What do you personally think about these kinds of clips? What do you believe is actually happening in them? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
I don't know how long this has been coming out of our speakers. I don't know what it's connected to.
Imagine this, a quiet night at home, and then out of nowhere, music starts playing from an unknown speaker installed outside. This was the eerie experience of a man who recently bought a house from the estate of its late owner. One night, the outdoor speaker on the corner of the property began playing a strange, old-fashioned tune. The new owner was baffled, not just by the song, but also by the mystery of how the speaker was still functioning or where it was connected. He hadn't set it up, but no one else would seem to have access. It's tempting to conclude the possibility of a paranormal explanation, especially since the previous owner has passed away. Could it be their way of leaving behind a final jam session, or is there a more earthly explanation? Perhaps it's a timer or an overlooked device the previous owner set up and forgot to disable, or it could even be someone nearby controlling the speaker wirelessly. Either way, what do you think?
Jane's tablet is dead, so it shouldn't be doing anything.
I do not cook for my husband. I only cook for my children. I do not do his laundry. I do not help him pay any bills. His job is to provide for his family, so I am not financially contributing to any of the bills. I've been crying all morning long. My husband told me that I needed to pack my stuff and get the out the house. I literally have nowhere to go.
In the first clip, the woman openly admits that she doesn't contribute to the household in ways traditionally associated with partnership, leaving her husband to take care of himself entirely despite being the provider. In the second clip, her tears reveal the aftermath. Her husband has reached his limit and asked her to leave. Relationships thrive on mutual effort, respect, and understanding. While every couple can define their own roles and responsibilities, it's essential to both partners to feel supported and valued. When one person feels like they're carrying the weight of the relationship alone, resentment can build, leading to cracks in the foundation. Both partners should openly discuss their needs and find ways to support each other, whether it's through shared chores, emotional connection, or other means of contribution. What do you think? Could this relationship have been saved with better communication and balance?
I've been crying all morning long. My husband told me that I needed to pack my stuff and get the out the house.
Imagine you're out at night and you see this. What's your first reaction? For me, this has got to be a trick question. I am, of course, running out of the place, but not for filming. Somehow the person got closer to get a much better view of everything. Strange if you ask me, especially given the fact that this was recorded at night. What if the creature came to him? How would he have defended himself? How would he have escaped? Well, that didn't happen, but it could have. Obviously, we're dealing with a snake here, but which exact snake and why is it moving like that? Any herpetologist to help us out will be reading. As you share your thoughts, take a look at this footage. The clip you're watching currently was recorded by a man named Todd in a part of the woods he refused to disclose. Why, you ask? Well, if it isn't obvious already, it's because he believes what you're seeing on your screen is actual footage of Bigfoot, and he recorded it himself. According to him, he's seen this humanoid ape-like creature a number of times in the same area, and he's built differently. From its structure to its fur and facial features, although they have some semblance to that of an ape, they at the same time do not look like that of an ape. Based on this, and this alone, he concluded that's Bigfoot. I've looked at this clip several times, and I must say that this is one of the clearest clips we've got of a potential Bigfoot candidate. But is it really Bigfoot? I'll leave that up to you to decide.
It's been shown that if you have houseplants that have been in your life for even a few months, if you put EEGs on those and then you send the person who takes care of those out of the house, send them some distance away, the moment they come within 2,000 meters or 2 kilometers from the home, the plants all perk up. They can feel the person coming from 2 kilometers away.
Plants are living organisms, and while they don't experience emotions like animals or humans, there's growing evidence that they have some level of awareness and responsiveness to their environment. According to this fascinating claim, plants may even display a connection to their caretakers. This man suggests that when you nurture a plant in your home, it becomes so attuned to you that it can sense when you're nearby, even as far as 2 kilometers away. Some researchers and enthusiasts argue that plants respond to stimuli like touch, sound, and changes in their surroundings in a way that mimics sentience. If this idea holds, it sheds a whole new light on how we treat our green companions. Those of you neglecting your plants might want to rethink that. They're more like quiet, leafy pets.
The moment they come within 2,000 meters or 2 kilometers from the home, the plants all perk up. They can feel the person coming from 2 kilometers away.
It was completely pitch black. I thought, this is a nightmare. This is not happening.
Tiffany O'Brien experienced a truly bizarre and unsettling incident while traveling on an Air Canada flight. After falling asleep during the journey, she woke up to find herself completely alone on the plane, which had already landed and been parked for the night. None of the flight crew or staff had noticed her, leaving her locked inside the aircraft. In her panic, Tiffany texted a friend to explain what had happened. She managed to navigate the dark cabin and made her way to the cockpit, where she found a flashlight. Using it to signal for help, she eventually caught someone's attention and was safely escorted out of the plane. This oversight raised serious questions about airline procedures and passenger safety. Imagine the shock of waking up to such a scenario. What would you do in her situation?
I'm so scared that I'm going to touch something that's wrong, but I knew I had to do something, and I found the flashlight, and I was so happy. That was like the best moment.
Next, we've got this photo that was taken by a man driving home late at night. In the darkness, standing on 2 legs with glowing eyes fixed directly on him, was a strange creature at the edge of the forest in central Kentucky. The creature appeared dark and foreboding, with its eyes shining in the night, and its silhouette hard to make out clearly. But it definitely stood out against the backdrop of the trees. Many people who have seen this photo are divided on what it could be. Some believe it might be a bear, but the shape and posture are unusual for that. Others, particularly those intrigued by the paranormal, are not so convinced. They speculate that it could be a Bigfoot, given its size and the fact that it doesn't resemble a typical slender creature. Still, others suggest it might be another type of cryptid entirely, something yet unidentified and mysterious. Looking at this, it's hard to come to a definite conclusion. The eerie glow of the eyes and the dark, bulky figure certainly add to the sense of mystery. What do you think? I know we've seen a lot of things on this channel, but it's clips like this that always have me asking, what the hell is that? I mean, this does not look like any natural occurring animal species on our planet, at least the ones that we're familiar with. This looks like a blend of bat and wolf. It also appears to be humanoid, which brings to mind ancient and mythic creatures such as vampires, werewolves, and even the Dogman. You've seen the clip yourself. What do you think we're dealing with here? Speaking of strange captures, take a look at this one.
Yo, I'm a security guard, and I'm doing my checks. What the is this? Alright, that's too much. Clock out.
This clip was uploaded by a woman who ran into an unusual situation while at the post. She was doing her usual rounds at her facility when she noticed that there was what looked like a person, most likely a man, tied to a chair with a cloth over his head. Seeing this supposedly spooked her, and she left the place minding her own business. Now, I get why anyone would mind their own business in a situation like this, but recording your face and putting it online on your personal account isn't exactly minding your own business. It's putting a target on your back. Aaron thinks the whole thing might be a joke or a prank, and quite frankly, I hope so too. But this is the 21st century and anything is possible. What would you have done in her situation, assuming this whole thing is legit?
Alright, that's too much. Clock out.
But when I started walking back, that's when I could see these logs moving.
That tree branch was not there like that.
These logs are huge, and they're crisscrossing them, blocking the path.
This footage comes from a woman who went into the woods at night with her flashlight and camera. Initially, the path seemed clear, but on her way back, she encountered a strange sight. There were large logs crisscrossed on the path she had been taken earlier. These weren't there when she arrived, making her feel uneasy. Trusting her instincts, she quickly left the area. Later, as she reviewed the footage, something chilling caught her attention. Hidden behind a tree was a dark, shadowy figure. Its huge fur-covered legs were partially visible, blending into the darkness of the forest. The woman is convinced that she had an encounter with Bigfoot, and many who have seen the footage agree it's compelling evidence. But skeptics argue it could be a trick of shadow, an animal, or even a prank. What do you think?
It made me nervous because these were big trees and this was a big thing sitting there staring at me.
Still on the subject of UFOs, take a look at this. When was the last time you saw a cloud move with a light source in it like that? Aside from that, if you look closely, you'll see what looks like a force field around the cloud as it moves. The individual who posted this online was shocked and weirded out by the whole thing. He wanted answers, but Aaron stated that sometimes things are just what they look like. There's no explanation needed. And by that he means that if it looks alien, then, well, it's definitely alien. What say you? What do you think is actually happening here as well? For a bit of context, we've got some meat, or at least part of it, moving on its own. It appears to be freshly cut, which has me wondering, can freshly cut meat move on its own? Well, the answer is yes. It is possible for freshly cut meat to move on its own. This could be due to residual nerve activity. After an animal is slaughtered, the nerves in its muscles can remain active for a short period. If the meat is very fresh, these nerve endings might still send electrical impulses, causing the meat to contract and move. This phenomenon is more common in certain types of meat, like frogs' legs or fish, where the nerves are particularly responsive. Additionally, factors like the application of salt or changes in temperature can stimulate these nerve endings, triggering muscle contractions even after the meat is being cut. While it can be unsettling to witness, this movement is a natural and temporary reaction, not an indication that the meat is alive. It's simply a result of the biological processes that continue briefly after death. I had to take a mini science course for this one, so a like and a sub at this point would be great. No? You know the saying, don't start something you cannot finish. Well, take a look at this footage.
Blue, blue baby, baby blue, blue baby, baby blue.
Two women were performing a fertility ritual in their room. One person had the camera and the other was saying in front of the camera as she recited some incantation and swung her arms back and forth as if she was cradling a baby. As she continued, right behind at her door, a pale head with dark hollow eyes poked its head in and stared right at them before quickly retreating. The woman holding the camera saw this and immediately alerted her friend. They both began to scream in panic and confusion. Did these women just summon an entity during the ritual? The sudden appearance of this eerie figure certainly suggests they may have disturbed something otherworldly. This is why we must be careful when meddling with these types of things. Julius thinks this is ridiculous, but I bet there are some of you who have done stuff like that with strange and unexplainable results or occurrences. Care to share? This creature is the stuff of nightmares. Imagine stumbling upon this giant worm with its menacing teeth. Definitely not your average encounter. The lack of details on its origin leaves room for speculation. Is it a creature from the depths of the ocean, a newly discovered species, or just a remarkable creation of special effects? Regardless, if it's not a man-made prop, encountering such a beast would be a jaw-dropping moment, quite literally. Let's hope it's just a product of someone's vivid imagination, because if not, humanity might just need to rethink its place in the food chain. I had to watch this clip several times to try and understand what's happening in it. The ground appears to be at the mercy of something very large moving through and on it. After multiple viewing sessions, I'm tempted to believe it's a large snake or some other type of reptile. The individual who uploaded it didn't give much info or context to the clip. He expected us to piece it together and also refused to state where he recorded it. The big question now is that really real, or is someone just playing games with us? Let's just say, if that's actually real, then those that live around the area are in some serious trouble, wouldn't you agree? While you decide on that, permit me to ask, are you familiar with the TR3B? If you aren't, then today's your lucky day. The TR3B is a subject of conspiracy theories, often described as a secretive, triangular-shaped aircraft developed by the US government. Allegedly, this craft uses advanced anti-gravity technology, allowing it to hover silently and move at incredible speeds. Sightings of such triangular UFOs, especially in the US and Europe, have been linked to the TR3B, with many believing it was created using reverse-engineered alien technology. Yes, alien tech. This theory is bolstered by the idea that it was developed as part of a classified military project, possibly at Area 51. Despite its popularity in UFO and conspiracy circles, the existence of the TR3B is widely disputed. There's no concrete evidence to support the claims, and many experts suggest that sightings attributed to the TR3B could be misidentified aircraft or natural phenomena. Additionally, the technology described in these theories is considered far beyond current human capabilities, leading most to regard the TR3B as a myth fueled by hoaxes and misinformation. But is it though? Haha. The Grim Reaper, a figure steeped in myth and legend, is often depicted as the personification of death itself, appearing in various cultures with his signature scythe and black robes. But does such an entity truly exist, or is it merely a product of human imagination and folklore? Recently, footage surfaced depicting a dark-robed entity floating in the night sky, prompting speculation about the existence of the Grim Reaper. While this figure lacked the notable scythe typically associated with the Grim Reaper, the eerie atmosphere it exuded led the poster of the footage to believe that they had captured the legendary entity on camera. So what can we make of this encounter? Could this dark-robed figure truly be the Grim Reaper, manifesting in our world to claim souls, as myth suggests? Or is it simply a trick of the light, or a case of mistaken identity? The Matrix isn't the only subject that makes me question reality. Recently, there's been a surge of sightings of fairy tale creatures in real life, blurring the lines between myth and reality. People are sharing footage of gnomes, dragons, and even fairies. Take a look at this intriguing clip shared by a man who saw something unusual on his way home. Initially, it appears to be a piece of dried wood lying on the ground. However, as the camera zooms in, you can see that this stick has a head and a face with detailed features that are unmistakably lifelike. Its legs resemble those of a grasshopper, giving it an otherworldly appearance. The creature lies motionless on the ground with its eyes closed, giving it an eerie, almost enchanting quality. Is this real or is it a hoax? Would you dare enter a cave that had this sign posted at its mouth? A man went exploring near a cave and stumbled upon something chilling. The cave's entrance led down into water, and there he found a stark warning sign. The sign read, "Stop, prevent death, go no further." Beneath this, it continued with an even more unsettling message. More than 300 divers have died in caves like this. The sign went on to caution about the extreme dangers lurking within. What could be inside this cave that warrants such a dire warning? Well, caves like this are often filled with treacherous underwater passages, dark, narrow, and disorienting. Even the most experienced divers can lose their way, run out of air, or become trapped. The risks are so severe that these warnings are placed to save lives. But beyond the physical dangers, what else might lie in the hidden depths of this cave? Could there be otherworldly figures lurking down there? Something that adds, no, thrives on the ominous aura of this place? You tell me. If you love seafood platters, then this next clip is yours to watch and enjoy. You and I have to agree that that's one big boy, right? Well, according to the one who uploaded the clip, in the deep, shadowy ocean where light barely reaches, myths speak of enormous sea crabs that wander the abyssal plains. These massive creatures allegedly have claws that can break steel and shells that are resilient as the strongest armor. This, according to him, has been the stuff of nightmares for sailors' fears for centuries. Ancient stories suggest they once protected a lost underwater realm, an awe-inspiring yet terrifying place hidden far beneath the surface. Some legends claim these crabs grow as large as islands, with the power to sink ships and drag them into the abyss. Others declare that these crabs carry the islands on their backs. We're not told how the individual allegedly got the footage of crabs that can grow that large, but we spoke to some experts and they told us the crab in the footage is nothing more than a spider crab. You can't imagine my disappointment when the news was told to me. Anyway, what do you guys think? Could there have been an iota of truth in his tall tale? Share your thoughts in the comment section. A man and his friends decided to go out in the woods to take pictures of nature, the beautiful trees and the sky. But when they got to one particular tree, they ended up running back home in sheer terror. Perched on the tree were about 3 creatures. At first glance, they looked like birds. However, when the camera zoomed in, it became clear that there were no ordinary birds. They had web-like wings similar to bats, but they were much larger and had humanoid bodies. When the footage was posted online, many people were skeptical, believing it to be a clever CGI work. The debate raged on, with some insisting it was genuine while others dismissed it as a hoax. But what do you think? Could these creatures be an undiscovered species, or perhaps beings from folklore brought to life? Or is this just another example of impressive digital effects? There are many stories of people seeing things on highways, as these are often the sites of ghastly accidents due to all the speeding cars. A similar eerie encounter happened in this footage. A group of friends were driving home late one night after a night out when something chilling occurred. A dark figure appeared on the side of the road. Considering it was a highway in the late hour, it seemed very unlikely that anyone would be out there. The friends in the car were so spooked by the figure that they sped off in terror, their hearts racing and minds reeling with fear. This kind of sighting is not uncommon on highways known for fatal accidents. So what do you think it was? Was it a ghost of someone who had likely passed away in an accident there, or perhaps an otherworldly entity haunting that lonely stretch of road? Stepping away from wireless inventions, I've got something that's sure to make your wired bits excited. Take a look. Did you catch that? Am I not the only one seeing what looks like a cross between a crustacean and a mammal moving on the roof of that building? Given the frame rate at which the creature or being is moving, I'm tempted to believe it was digitally inserted since it's very different from the rest of the footage. No, my editor didn't tell me that. Maybe just a little. I'm perfectly capable of figuring some of these things out myself. Moving on from my insecurities, what do you think? How far would you go to protect your home? Well, don't answer just yet, as our next clip promises a sub-lethal approach. Take a look. This is a turret created by the company Sub-Lethal. Get it? They never get it. Anyway, the turret can be installed on any part of your property you deem advantageous. It comes with controls and a system that allows you to fire rubber rounds to keep intruders away. They have a tear gas option if you find the rubber bullets a bit too extreme. If you ask me, though, tear gas is a bit much, but anything to keep your home safe, right? I can see this becoming handy during a robbery or even a riot. Do tell me, though. Is this technology something you would use, or would you prefer a more traditional pew-pew? A homeowner was woken up in the middle of the night by a strange tapping on the window. He went to check it out, and this is what he found. A monkey-like creature with wings was tapping on the glass from the outside. The creature had bat-like wings with bright yellow fur around its neck. It looked like it wanted to get into the house, persistently tapping on the glass. The terrified man didn't dare to open the window or investigate further. Some viewers speculate that the creature would be some type of bat, given its wings and nocturnal behavior. However, its face resembled that of a monkey, which is highly unusual for any known species of bat. Others think that this could be a paranormal creature, something out of folklore or myth. What do you think? Is this a rare, undiscovered species, a genetic anomaly, or perhaps something paranormal? Or maybe, just maybe, we have visitors from the Wizard of Oz. They have winged monkeys, remember? A homeowner arrived home after a long day, ready to relax. He was startled to discover something straight out of a nightmare approaching his front door. His eyes widened at the sight before him.
I'm scared!
A clear, slimy substance hung down from above, resembling snail slime but thicker. Suspended from this sticky thread was a strange, shellless creature wiggling about in the air. The creature looked like a snail, yet it lacked the familiar shell. Its body twisted and turned, seemingly defying gravity as it dangled from the slime. Was this a new or rarely seen species? Perhaps it was a type of slug exhibiting some unusual behavior. Julius says it's possible that they're mating snails. Now, I don't know how factual that is because he was not in his element when I asked him. Can any of you confirm this? Also, what would you do if you encountered such a sight? Let us know in the comments section.
Scared!
能看到全市，排队看吧。我们现在在抖音上搜一下。
我也看到，我觉得
This is allegedly Korea, and a peculiar and emotional phenomenon has drawn this long line of people to a well said to have the power to reveal loved ones who have passed on. The scene is hauntingly poignant. Individuals take turns peering into the well, their expressions ranging from awe to sorrow. One woman, visibly moved, crouches beside the well crying, presumably after witnessing a vision of a loved one. This raises a fascinating question. Is the well genuinely supernatural, or is there an extraordinary case of the mind's power to create vivid illusions? It's a well-documented thing that belief and suggestion can strongly influence perception. In deeply emotional states, the brain may project images or sensations that align with what we hope or expect to see, particularly in a setting steeped in mystery and collective belief. On the other hand, countless cultures have their own versions or portals to the spiritual realm, rituals, objects, or places believed to connect the living with the dead. Could this be a gateway to something beyond our understanding, or is it a manifestation of the human's need to reconnect, amplified by shared belief?
What is that?
It's definitely following us.
What is that?
It's the same thing.
Two adventurous friends decided to explore an abandoned building in search of ghosts. As they moved through the property, they felt the unsettling sensation of being watched. Turning their cameras towards a wooden structure nearby, they spotted a miniature humanoid figure. Its head peeked cautiously from behind the wooden frame, observing them. The small figure's proportions and movements were odd, almost otherworldly. Was it a curious alien, a mischievous spirit, or perhaps something from folklore like a duende or imp? While some argue it's an elaborate hoax, the details in the sighting make it a compelling mystery. What do you think?
What is that?
It's definitely following us.
What is that?
It's the same thing.
Take a look at this unsettling footage. A man was sleeping peacefully one night when, out of nowhere, he started writhing on the bed and shaking violently. Now, let's watch it again. On the wall above him, there's a cross, but pay attention. Something odd happens. While he's asleep, an object is knocked off his closet. Then you can see a black, almost transparent orb floating toward him. As soon as it reaches him, it vanishes, and that's when he begins to shake and make choking sounds. Aaron thinks this could be some sort of demonic attack, or is this just an elaborate hoax? What do you also think? Just before the end of 2024, there was considerable discussion regarding UFOs, particularly the theory that some of these unidentified objects may originate from the ocean. In light of this, numerous videos have surfaced that seem to support this intriguing idea. However, one particular close-up footage has garnered a lot of attention, as it purportedly captures what some believe to be a UAP rising from the water. In this incident, a person was on a boat when they witnessed a remarkable event. Something shot out of the ocean into the sky. The object looks like an enormous jellyfish, though it's covered in water due to the immense force with which it launched itself from the ocean. Could this be a genuine example of an underwater UAP making its presence known?
Michael, hurry! Come here.
This chilling footage captures a peculiar moment inside a 121-year-old Victorian house purchased by a couple. The woman, while alone in a room just below the attic, suddenly began to hear strange noises from above. Alarmed, she started filming and called her husband to come and listen. They were certain that no one else was in the house except for themselves and their 2 young daughters. The sounds, however, persisted, muffled movements, faint thuds, and an unsettled creak of the attic floor. Many people who have purchased historic Victorian homes have reported strange happenings from unexplained noises, doors opening and closing on their own, and even shadowy figures. Victorian houses often carry rich histories, and some believe residual energies from the past may linger in their walls. Alternatively, this could be a case of something more mundane but equally unsettling, like squatters or animals that have found their way into the attic. What do you think might be causing the eerie noises? This incredible footage comes from an apartment building in China and captures the exact moment lightning struck inside a home. The security camera footage shows a woman in her kitchen when the lightning blasts through a window, hitting a rack of kitchen utensils and scattering them to the ground. Amazingly, the woman was unharmed, though she immediately ran out of the kitchen in shock. From an exterior surveillance angle, you can see the lightning bolt streak through the window. It's a wild and terrifying sight. The sheer power of nature is on full display here, and the fact that she walked away unscathed makes this moment even more unbelievable. Recently, Israel conducted an operation involving the release of a bomb in Syria, and the aftermath of this explosion has raised significant concerns. The type of weapon used was not a conventional nuclear bomb, rather it was an earthquake bomb specifically designed to create seismic disturbances. This bomb targeted a Syrian military weapons station. Remarkably, the explosion was so intense that it recorded a magnitude of 3.0 on seismic monitors, indicating that its impact was notable even outside the immediate vicinity of the explosion site. Israel claims that this operation was aimed at destroying military assets and weaponry, but the use of an earthquake bomb brings about serious implications. The existence and deployment of such destructive weapons elicit worry, as they have the potential to cause significant damage and loss of life. What could happen if such a powerful device were to be detonated in densely populated areas? The risks associated with the use of earthquake bombs in human settlements underscores the need for careful consideration regarding military tactics and the weapons we have at our disposal.
Because they're but they like you a lot.
They're acting fucking rude to me.
They're not trying. That's just how they
There are many New Age beliefs these days, and people are more in tune with the ideas of energy and the spiritual aspects surrounding us than we might realize. Take a look at this footage. A couple was in the kitchen arguing about how the man's friends didn't like his girlfriend. As they exchanged words, something unexpected happened. A glass fell, but it was not in the camera's view. We can only hear it, causing the couple to turn and look. Oddly enough, the woman exited the room, but the occurrences continued. The man was standing in front of an open cabinet filled with glass plates, and suddenly all the plates slid out onto the ground, startling him and making him step back in shock. Many paranormal believers suggest that this entire situation could be linked to the negative energy from their argument, or that the woman's anger might have triggered some sort of energy that manifested in this way. Some are skeptical, though. The reason is there's no way anyone would film such a sensitive interaction and upload it. While I understand where they're coming from, there's also the possibility that they have cams set up around the house. This may just have been a coincidence. Maybe. What do you think? Fake, or is there something paranormal going on?
They're not trying. That's just how they.
This footage is a remarkable glimpse into the inner workings of the human immune system. It shows the process of a T-cell targeting and destroying a cancer cell. In the video, the T-cell, unidentifiable by its yellow pulsing appearance, engages with the larger purple cancer cell. With precision, the T-cell strikes the cancer cell multiple times, delivering lethal signals. Over time, you can see the cancer cell shrink and ultimately die, demonstrating the T-cell's effectiveness in neutralizing threats. This interaction is a cornerstone of immunotherapy research, where scientists aim to harness and amplify the power of T-cells to fight cancer more effectively. It's inspiring to witness how the body's own mechanisms can combat such complex diseases. Wouldn't you agree? Dolphins are undeniably intelligent creatures, and their remarkable cognitive abilities have fascinated scientists for years. What's even more intriguing is the similarity between developing dolphin embryos and human embryos. At the earliest stages of development, dolphin embryos bear a striking resemblance to human embryos, with similar structures before their features diverge. As the dolphin embryos grow, it gradually takes on its distinct aquatic form, developing fins and other adaptations for life in water, while human embryos continue along the path that defies terrestrial mammals. It's fascinating to consider that such a similarity could point to a deeper biological link, potentially explaining why dolphins exhibit traits like problem-solving, social bonding, and even playfulness, which are often associated with human intelligence. Truly fascinating. A woman was home alone with her son when she took this picture of him standing in the kitchen, his back turned to the living room. But when she zoomed in on the image, she noticed something unsettling. Take a look. There's a strange figure peeking out from behind the wall. At first glance, it almost looks like a silhouette, but the face is eerily distorted, making it hard to identify what it could be. Now, the question is, could this be pareidolia, or is it possible that this could be a child entity lingering in the shadows of her home? Remember Dolly, the cloned sheep? She was the first mammal ever cloned using advanced DNA technology, but here's the wild part: that same tech has now been used to reverse human aging. Researchers recently took the skin cells of a 53-year-old woman and reversed them to behave like they were just 23. That's right, they turned back her biological clock by 30 years. By reprogramming her DNA using techniques similar to those used in cloning, scientists were able to reset the cells, making them younger at a molecular level. The results are mind-blowing. Her cells didn't just look younger, they functioned younger. It's not just full-body age reversal just yet, but if we can do this to skin cells now, what's next? Entire organs? The whole body? We might be a lot closer to anti-aging breakthroughs than we think. Would you try it if it became available? And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. Share this video with someone you love, and I'll see you in the next one.